Good afternoon, everyone. Meet again, Van from Crazy Part, and thank you for coming into Crazy Part channel. Now it's 4 o'clock in Sydney time, and today we're not talking about review, comparison of the product. We will do something different. Today we will discuss about tip and trick on repair. We have a lots of questions from the customer, sometimes asking for the experience sharing from the repair. Why this happened into this phone, they can't get it fixed by changing the screen, or sometimes they change the battery and phone have an issue of the message like last video we do. Today we're going to share you experience based on our technical issue, find out when we're doing repair. So now for the tip and trick of experience repair, first thing we will talk about the iPhone X touching issue. That is a very common issue when you repair the iPhone X. The customer bring in you a smashed phone front screen, and you don't feel any touch on the display. Then you think you change the LCD, it may help, but sometimes the damage was going into the board, not just the LCD only. Even you put the new LCDs on, there is no touch, but you would think it's a motherboard issue. You have to send it to the specialist of who doing the motherboard for you and get it fixed. The time is long and the cost is high as well. So better for you to identify the right issue on the phone. Is that really from the motherboard or not before send it away? But agree that most of the time for the iPhone X, it will come from the motherboard. When you have the bad drop on your phones, especially when you see the housings bend, more likely your motherboard will be separation into two pieces. I will tell you how it looks like. We borrowed the motherboard from Crazy, and that is a motherboard for iPhone X. Let me put under the microscope here for you to see more clearer, and I will share you the video on the microscope as well. So we start recording on the screen, as you can see here. That is the motherboard for iPhone X. It's made by 2 layers. This one called the top layer that have all the connector, and this one called the RF layer that control all the signal, SIM card, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and everything. Those 2 layers joined together by the middle frame, the yellow color here. When your phone would drop and you see the housings bend, more likely you will see the connection from here on the top layer would disconnect into the middle frame. What you have to do here is send to the specialist, and then they will rejoin the layer here for you, and they check around any component damage. They have to make the jumper wire to make it working. This is a touch connector. That is the first common issue that you will see. But some kind a little bit special. If the customer has been changed the LCD somewhere else, and they say there is no touch after the second time damage, but they want to change into the original screen, we call it OEM. It can be the motherboard if they drop for the second time, but it also may not be a motherboard issue, because the previous repair shop, if they use the aftermarket screen, the connector on the touch connector is a bit bigger than the original. And then I'll show you on the video that here, this connector, like I said before, is a touch connector on the motherboard. And then you will have the LCD connector, this one, connected into here. But if this is an aftermarket LCD, and the connector on the LCD was a bit bigger than compared to the original one, and you try to put this connector into the motherboard, it will expand this connector here bigger. I'll show you closer. your connector will go into this space. Let me look under the microscope. Your connector will go into this space and make this room come bigger by the aftermarket screen. Then the customer come into your shop, they say they want to check the screen, but I want to use a higher quality OEM screen original. Then you use the OEM screen, you put it into here. The original screen have the original cable from Apple, and they have the original connector. When you put it in here, the connector would actually now smaller than your FPC on the motherboard, which is the connection between the board and the LCD will not connect it together. That's the reason why you don't have the touching. Even you try so many another original screen, you still think, or maybe it's the motherboard issue, because you know all this screen was working, but when you plug into this motherboard, it don't have touch. Then you put the original broken aftermarket that the customer bring it to you in before you close the phone. Then you realize there is a touch again. You feel confusing, and then you again plug the original LCDs in, no touch. That's the reason why I just explained, because of this connector, it already expanded by the aftermarket connector. Therefore, when you put the original connector from the original LCDs in, no connection and no touch. This video, I'm going to show you the tip and trick how you get away with this without sending into the specialist. You will need the angle tweezer like this one, or even a little bit smaller is fine, it will do the same work anyway. And what you do is try to make this connector tight again by pressing here gently like this. Make sure it gently, otherwise you will damage the connector. So you switch it in a little bit, but make sure gentle. If you press it too hard, all the connection here from the connector to the board will be broken, and at this stage you definitely will have to send it into the specialist and replace the whole connector here by the new one. But if you have enough experience and you do it gentle enough, the connector will back into original shape. After that, you can put the original LCDs back in and it will work. If it still doesn't work by somehow, then you still need to replace the connector, but you will try your best before you send it away. See, that is a very easy process, but you just need to have the right tool. Most of the repair shop, they don't have the microscope that we recommend you should have one. You can purchase one from Crazy Parts. They have multiple brand and multiple joints for you. Example, this microscope that we're using here is from RELIFE, and this comes with the camera, which is I can show you over the video what we just done. You also can buy the cheaper one without the camera here, but it helps you to see the board under the microscope very clear, so you can see every single IC, capacitor and the connector. Then of course you need the normal screwdriver tool to open your phone, and like I say, for this tip and trick you will need the curved tweezer like this to gentle work on the connector. That's it for today, and if you have any more questions about the repair, why you can't get it fixed by changing this and that, just leave the comment below. We will collect it and then we will share the experience that from our technician team. Thank you very much for following us.